Good to have you with us. Welcome to Nightline. I'm Raymond Goh. The headlines. Riza Aziz to be charged on Friday under Anti-Money Laundering Act. And Parliament decriminalises street protests. Good morning. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has arrested former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's stepson Riza Aziz on Thursday. MACC Chief Commissioner Latifah Koya, when contacted, confirmed the arrest, adding that Riza was then released on MACC bail. Latifah said Riza will be charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Friday under the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. Earlier, sources said Riza, who is also the owner of Red Granite Pictures, would be charged with 5 counts of money laundering from Good Star Limited, a company linked to fugitive financier Lau Teck Joe or Joe Low. It was previously reported that Malaysia received the first transfer of funds linked to One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB, amounting to 236 million ringgit seized by the US's Department of Justice, DOJ, from Red Granite. The matter was confirmed by Attorney General Tommy Thomas, who said the first transfer of funds was obtained via seizure of assets linked to 1MDB under the DOJ's Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative. Riza, 49, is Red Granite's chief executive, the company that produced Wolf of Wall Street, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Previously, the MACC called Riza in for a total number of 4 times beginning July 3rd last year to obtain his statement regarding 1MDB. Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak has been slapped with an extra tax bill of around 1.69 billion ringgit by the Inland Revenue Board, or IRB. A financial daily on Thursday quoted sources which said that a letter was sent to the former Prime Minister by IRB over a week ago on the backdated tax amount for the years 2011 to 2017. According to the Financial Daily, the action was taken after Datuk Seri Najib failed to respond to an initial inquiry by the IRB of additional tax assessments of 1.47 billion ringgit in March this year, resulting in a 10% hike of 147 million ringgit in April and another compounded 5% hike of 80 million ringgit in May. It said the writ of summons dated June 25, 2019, followed the first additional assessment notice that was dated March 20, 2019. It added that the additional assessment notice was sent via registered postage to the defendant on March 25, 2019, to his last known address by the government as the plaintiff at the time, but the notice was never returned to the government. The writ said the first 10% increase came in line with Section 103 of the Income Tax Act 1967 after the former UMNO president failed to pay the initial 1.47 billion ringgit within 30 days from the date the initial assessment notice was delivered. Subsequently, Datuk Seri Najib failed to settle the renewed sum within 60 days under the same act, which resulted in a compounded 5% hike. The 1.69 billion ringgit claim comes together with 5% interest per annum from the day of judgment until the sum is satisfied, costs and any relief deemed appropriate by the court. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Najib, his wife, Datin Sri Rosmah Mansor, and their 3 children have objected to claims by third parties over their belongings seized by the police last year. Counsel Shahira Hanafia, who was representing Datuk Seri Najib and his family, said the respondent would file a notice of an application to protest and a notice with a certificate of urgency at the High Court before or on July 18th on the matter. Shahira said seized belongings under the name of the first respondent, Datuk Seri Najib, belonged to him. She said they would also be filing a notice to request a detailed list of all the items seized, namely where the belongings were seized, types of assets, brand, colour and others. She also confirmed that the case has been fixed for mention before High Court Justice Muhammad Zaini Mazlan on August 30th. On May 30th, the High Court allowed the prosecution to publish a notice in the Gazette calling upon any third party with interest on the seized assets, which were more than 100 branded handbags, foreign currency in different denominations, watches and 27 vehicles seized from Dato Sri Najib, Datin Sri Rosma, their 3 children and 13 individuals as well as companies. Justice Muhammad Zaini made the decision after allowing the prosecution's application under Section 56 and 61, subsection 2 of the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. The approval of any applications and appeals made by a developer to Kuala Lumpur City Hall would be decided based on the Federal Territories Minister's instructions. Testifying in the bribery trial of former Federal Territories Minister Dato Sri Tengku Adnan Tengku Mansor, former City Hall Enforcement Director Abdul Salim Mansor said the minister's instructions would be prioritized over his deputy, the mayor and senior City Hall officers. Salim said each letter from a developer would be reviewed and discussed with the mayor before any decision on what the enforcement department would do next is taken. During examination in chief, when asked by Deputy Public Prosecutor Haderia Siri about the procedure used by City Hall in dealing with instructions from the minister, he said it was a priority as approvals were given and offers made by the minister. Earlier, Salim had in his witness statement said that Sri Tengku Adnan had approved an offer for the sale of 2 land lots to developer Asad Kayamas Sindram Berhad. The 61-year-old, who was at the time City Hall's Economic Planning and Development Department Director, said the approval was reflected in a letter dated 27th of May 2015. Salim also confirmed that Asad Kayamas intended to build a 41-floor low-cost apartment with 427 units and an 8-story car park and facilities in the first phase. He said the second phase was for a 41-story apartment with 632 units, while the third phase was for a hostel for the City Hall Training Centre. Dato Sri Tengku Adnan was charged with accepting 2 million ringgit from Tan Sri Chai Kin Kong via a cheque belonging to Asad Kayamas, which was deposited into a bank account belonging to Tatman Sori Holding Sindram Berhad, a company which the accused held interest. The Peaceful Assembly Amendment Bill 2019 was passed in the Dewan Rakyat with last-minute amendments by the Home Ministry. The new amendments further shortens the notice period that organisers are required to give to police. Under the initial proposed amendments, organisers of peaceful assemblies or street protests need only to notify the police 7 days before the event, as opposed to the current 10-day notification period under Section 9, subsection 1. However, Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said he took note of the concerns raised by lawmakers during debates on the notice period. He said his ministry will propose to reduce the notice period to 5 days, besides introducing a new clause to the bill which requires the police to revert to the organisers within 3 days from the 5 days that is currently required. On the concerns raised by MPs on the possibility of disqualification for offences under the proposed amendment, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said lawmakers need not worry, as they would only face a compound. The proposed change introduces a new Section 21A, which empowers the police with written permission from the DPP to fine organisers or participants with a maximum 5,000 ringgit for any offence under Section 9 or Section 15 of the Act. This new provision allows the police to offer a written compound for any breach of these provisions.
Selain pindaan-pindaan yang dinyatakan, Kementerian bercadang untuk menambah tempat perhimpunan yang ditetapkan. Ini adalah salah satu komitmen kerajaan dalam memudah cara penganjuran sesuatu perhimpunan di mana penganjur tidak perlu mengemukakan notis pemberitahuan pada pegawai yang menjaga daerah polis Walau bagaimanapun penganjur perlu memohon kebenaran dengan pemilik premis yang berkenaan.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin added that with the new amendments, there would be no distinction between peaceful and street protests, which is in line with the aspiration of the people towards having more freedom. A total of 8,668 protests and assemblies were held in 2018, and 1,592 were held this year up to May 2019. And also at the August House, a bill to amend the federal constitution to lower the voting age has been tabled in the Dewan Rakyat for its first reading on Thursday. The Constitution Amendment 2019 bill seeks to amend Clause 1 of Article 119 of the Federal Constitution to lower the age of a Malaysian who is entitled to vote from 21 to 18 years old. The bill was tabled by Youth and Sports Minister Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman.
Tuannya di Pertua, saya memohon mengemukakan rang Undang-Undang Pindaan Perlembagaan 2019.
Rang undang-undang bernama suatu akta untuk meminda perlembagaan persekutuan.
Bacaan kali kedua bila? Bacaan kedua dan ketiga pada mesyuarat yang sama.
The second reading is expected to be on July 16th. It requires a two-thirds majority of 148 votes in the House to amend the federal constitution. Currently, there are 222 seats in the Dewan Rakyat, and Pakatan Harapan only has 139 MPs, while the opposition has a total of 77 lawmakers. Other countries have also lowered their voting age to 18, among them the United States, the United Kingdom, India, Iran, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, and Australia. Meanwhile, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dato' Liew Vui Kyong, said all changes on voting with regards to the Election Commission, EC, need constitutional amendments. Speaking to the media at the Parliament lobby on Thursday, he added that the move would take time to go through the necessary processes.
All the constitutional amendment, we also have to do constitutional amendment to the peraturan on this SPR. We have to do that, and then to allow all this process to be effective. So after this constitutional amendment on Article 119, we will look into the constitutional amendment on the other peraturan also. So I hope that opposition's member can allow and consider this issue, that the constitutional amendment that are required to be done, right? And then the second reading and the third reading will be done, I hope, around 16th of July. So by then, I think we have about 10 days to see how these things will move, right, in the next 10 days or so.
A day earlier, the opposition bloc said that it would give unanimous support to the amendment if Article 119 of the Constitution is also amended to allow for the automatic registration of all citizens aged 18 and above. In Johor, a joint enforcement operation will be conducted within a month to shut down illegal factories in Pasir Gudang. According to Energy Science, Technology, Environment and Climate Change Minister Yeo Bee Yin, this was among the measures to control the air quality in the area, which once again faces a pollution issue after the Sungai Kim Kim incident in March. Yeo said that her ministry is currently cooperating with various quarters to ensure that the illegal factories there are closed for the sake of the people.
Kita juga akan membuat sesuatu di mana kita nak target kilang-kilang haram. Dalam masa 1 bulan ini kita akan ada operasi bersepadu supaya kita tutup semua kilang-kilang haram di Pasir Gudang. Saya juga nak meminta ahli-ahli Dewan dan juga rakyat di Pasir Gudang supaya melapor kepada Jabatan Alam Sekitar kalau ada maklumat tentang kilang-kilang haram, kita akan pergi kilang-kilang ini.
She said this in a reply to a question from Pasir Gudang MP Hassan Abdul Karim at Dewan Rakyat on Thursday. Yeo added several other approaches were outlined, including setting up a DOE branch in Pasir Gudang and developing a system to analyse and determine the carrying capacity. Earlier, responding to a question by Pengerang MP Datuk Sri Azalina Othman's side, Yeo said 172 industrial premises had been inspected since the air pollution incidents on June 20th and July 4th. Still to come, 2 million ringgit worth of drugs seized as police bust processing ring. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Police have busted a drug distribution and processing operation with the arrest of 8 individuals, including 3 Iranians in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. Drugs believed to be heroin, shabu and ketamine worth nearly 2 million ringgit were also seized in the operation. City Police Chief Datuk Sri Mazlan Lazim said initially police arrested 3 local men and 2 Vietnamese women during a raid at a condominium in Jalan P. Ramlee, where some 1 kilograms of heroin, 17.3 kilograms of ketamine and 3 kilograms of methamphetamines were found at the scene. The arrested suspects then led police to a condominium along Jalan Delima, where 3 Iranian men were arrested. Preliminary investigations showed that the first batch of arrested suspects were the sellers, while the Iranian suspects were responsible for processing the raw materials. Also seized were 2 plastic drums believed to contain some 30 kilograms of liquid methamphetamine and 580 grams of processed methamphetamine. All suspects have been remanded until July 9th to assist with investigations. In Negeri Sembilan, a married couple who are also directors of a company pleaded not guilty at the Seremban Sessions Court over 4 counts of misappropriation of booking fees from customers purchasing vehicles. The accused, 57-year-old Shah Riman Raja Abdullah and Norul Hanum Muhammad Hussein Al-Bari, aged 42, made the plea before Judge Muhammad Zaki Abdul Qudos, who set August 15th for remention of the case. In Kuala Lumpur, a father pleaded not guilty in the Ampang Sessions Court for abusing his son on 22nd of July. Hassan Bisri Masra was charged with beating and stepping on the head and body of his 7-year-old son, Muhammad Kamarul Haikal, which was alleged to have occurred at 10:30 a.m. in the living room of a house in Taman Ampang Indah, Ampang. Judge Azrus Darus set August 8th for remention of the case and no bail was offered. In Terengganu, 3 men pleaded guilty at the Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court over a rape charge involving a Form 3 student in Setiu last month. The accused were Muhammad Amirul Arif Baharum, aged 20, 24-year-old Muhammad Fakhruddin Anwar, and 21-year-old Muhammad Shah Firdaus Hassan. The trio were charged with raping the minor at Kampung Beris Tokku, Mukim Guntung on June 22nd and 27th. They were charged under the Penal Code, which carries a jail term of up to 20 years and whipping upon conviction. Kedah police are hunting for a man believed to be members of the 04 gang in Sungai Petani for beating the owner of a plastic factory in an industrial area Wednesday afternoon. The suspect, known as Raj, is a security guard from Taman Songket. In the 4 p.m. incident, the 50-year-old victim was beaten up by 3 men after he exposed their illegal recycling factory on social media. 2 other suspects, aged 44 and 49, have been remanded Wednesday. Coming up after the break, northeast China hit by deadly tornado. On to the foreign front now. At least 6 people were killed while 190 others were injured after a ferocious tornado tore through the city of Kaiyuan, northeast of China's Liaoning province. According to authorities, the twister tore through the city at about 5:45 p.m. local time and lasted for approximately 15 minutes. Although it only lasted for a short while, the disaster wreaked havoc to apartment buildings and turned over cars as the twister reached speeds of 80 kilometers per hour. The tornado also damaged nearly 3,600 homes and affected more than 9,900 residents in Kaiyuan, a city of around 500,000 people. The city government meanwhile confirmed that it was still assessing the damage done to the area and said that rescue mission is currently underway. The country's weather bureau said on Tuesday that while tornadoes are rare in China, climate change could cause more extreme weather events following floods, drought and extreme high temperatures in some regions this year. Over in Pakistan, at least 8 people were killed while 17 others remained missing after a boat capsized in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Authorities said the boat was carrying passengers along the Indus River from Shangla to Haripur district on Wednesday when it overturned. There were 38 people on board when the incident occurred, and 13 people saved their lives by swimming to the shore. At the moment, rescue operation is still ongoing, but chances of finding survivors are extremely slim. Meanwhile, initial investigation revealed that the boat capsized due to overloading, as it was also carrying animals and cargo beyond its capacity. And that wraps up Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at a DC-themed cafe in Genting Highlands hosting a Batman 80-year anniversary event with an exhibition, Batman cosplayers and comics. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for watching and take care.